1. Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for the final, competitive stage for the Giro d'Italia, at least on GC. Tomorrow is the sprint stage in Rome, a million miles away. But today we're starting in Alpago, doing maybe not the hardest stage of the race, but the hardest climb in the race. 183 kilometers long, finishing in Bassano del Grappa. 85 k's of rolling hills before 2 reps of the 18-kilometer long 8.1% average Monte Grappa, and it includes 2 flatter sections in it. Seriously hard, this climb, because there's kilometers of 10-11% within that. Yes, it doesn't go to high altitude, but very difficult, and 4,500 meters climbing throughout the stage. It even includes like a 1,500 meter 9% sort of 4 or 5 minute climb halfway down the descent, and it is a descent finish in Bassano del Grappa, which they get a look at. Obviously, the first time they go straight down, straight back up. Pogacar, Benji, before the stage, he made some declarations, or even yesterday, right?
Well, some declarations that he would enjoy winning a stage like this, is how I perceived it. Next to that, I think I read somewhere that Mikkel Bjerg told Danish media that Poggi might want to attack on the second Monte Grappa, which is, it's kind of logical. And the reason behind it would be that he hasn't reconned to Monte Grappa. So he wants to take a look at the Monte Grappa the first time around and the descent before he makes that attack on the second climb, which, to be honest, if every race had twice the same climb in a stage, would anyone ever recon a stage?
Yeah, true.
Anyway, start of this race, like you said, relatively flat, a little bit of bumps here and there, but ruler breakaway is how I perceive it. Jimmy Janssens, Ballerini, Mulubran. We've got Fernandez Vendrame, yesterday's winner. Germani from FDJ, completely forgot they were in this race because they've been invisible. Edward Teuns, Pelayo Sanchez, and Andrea Pietrobon is the 10 riders. I'm seeing like 10 riders counted, but I only got 9 here, so the 9 riders in the breakaway. And in the peloton behind, we've got UAE controlling, and it's also, there was this moment, that steep hill that we spoke about yesterday, that is like in the first segment of this stage, that steep hill, the peloton just blocked it there and that break was gone. So anyway, that break is up the road, UAE is controlling, we're looking at the Monte Grappa, but before we get there, how's your training going?
Training's going pretty well. I actually got on the bike or indoors watching the final of this race today, and maybe I had a zone 2 ride, join cycling zone 2 with some like zone 3, just upping the pace for a minute or so. Nothing too difficult. And that's what it kind of looked like for Pogacar today, to be honest. I was like watching the final climb, and he looked like less stressed than me doing 150 watts, which is, I guess, if I keep doing the joint stamina plan, no, I actually won't get to Pog's level. But maybe I'll have to push a little bit harder than he did today. But it's going really well. I'm like in week 2, I think, of my stamina builder. I chose that to, obviously build my stamina with today's the first day spring has broken, Benji. Well, it's sort of broke before, but then it got cold. It snowed yesterday evening, and now it's 15 degrees again. So hopefully, as we reach the end of May, summer is actually here.
I've got a question. I made a cheaty move yesterday. I saw my app and it told me, oh, you got to do 10 sprints in a row at 50 seconds in between. I was like, I don't feel like doing 10 sprints in a row. So I chose a workout myself. Is that a crime or not?
I do that all the time. Sometimes I'm just like, well, no, that's the point. It's a flexible, adaptive training platform where if you're just not feeling it, because it doesn't know if you've had I don't know, if I've had to run after Toby or he's been inside 2 days because of rain and then I had to take him to the mountains. My legs are a bit cooked. It doesn't know if you're stressed. It doesn't know you work late. I had a games night with playing Catan at Luke's last night, actually.
That's cool.
Luke's partner won, which is a bit, I'm still smarting from the loss. We all are. But yeah, we had a bit of a late night. And so today, I was like, I'm not up to doing 3 hours with VO2 max intervals. So I just dialed it down and adjusted my readiness on the app, and bang, zone 2 is perfect watching the race. So if you want to check out Join Cycling, you can get 30 days free, no strings attached, through the link down below. No promises that you'll get as quick as Poggi, but it will help you, and it's certainly helping me become the best cyclist version of myself. For what, if you get the 6-month discounted plan after the 30-day free trial lapses, is an incredibly affordable price, in my opinion. So thanks to our show partner, Join Cycling, for supporting the show. But Grappa Uno, Benji. UAE makes good on their word. They want the stage. And really, even before Grappa 1 starts, we know the break has no chance today.
Exactly. Also because of the consistency of the breakaway, they're not the climbers in there. And to my surprise, like from that breakaway, Janssens was one of the strongest riders. Sorry, but I didn't anticipate Janssens to be one of the strongest riders in this group. Janssen, Sanchez, Vendrame, and Mulubrand were really the strongest riders there. And eventually we also saw Tonelli be up there at the end in that breakaway as well. And after this, obviously in the peloton, behind them we see Langen, we see Bjerg, and the order was interesting. Yeah, like we know Bjerg's been under the weather a bit this week or earlier this week because he's been doing work before Langen is doing them. Yes, Langen seems quite strong at the moment. We got to give it to Langen again on today's stage. Bjerg did the early work after Oliveira and Molano did the flat work. Then after Bjerg it switched to Langen again, and after Langen it switched to Bjerg again, and then back to Langen or something. I was like, they were switching around a bit. The most important parts of this climb are Pellizzari attacks like 3 full kilometers before the top, because 1, he could go for the KOM points. 2, maybe end up trying for the stage, even though it's very unlikely to win it. But I heard a very interesting point by Nathan van Hooydonk on commentary, where if Pellizzari gets those 40 KOM points, he hops over Steinhauser in the classification, and he will start tomorrow's procession stage in the blue KOM jersey next to the other jersey wearers.
That's really cool.
Clever.
Yeah, smart. I mean, Bardiani been really impressive this race. I think they've been in a different Giro. They probably have 2 stage wins in a Giro of last year, like when Buitrago won this stage last year, right? Essentially, he won the Tre Cimi, the last mountain stage from the break. It was easy break win. Pellizzari wins probably 2 stages, but unfortunately for them, despite being at a really good level all around as a team, and even Tonelli in the break, UAE had other designs for the stage. But yeah, they get exposure tomorrow in Rome in the afternoon with him, and also you get more prize money. Like it's a few €1,000 difference between 3rd and 2nd for those competitions too. It's not no money, and he gets money for the gate that he crosses first. Were you surprised no one else jumped out? Because UAE definitely, there was a moment there where they had to slow down to keep the rouleurs over the top, and they like Pellizzari, when he attacked, his gap exploded. I believe UAE slowed down a bit.
I think so, but I think mainly on the descent. Langen did survive over the top relatively. He was holding off the back a little bit by the top, and he came over the top relatively close to the group, and maybe near the group once the descent started. But to me, it was really when they put Bjerg on the front on the descent again that I really started expanding significantly, because at that point, Pellizzari hit the front of the race. He's got a teammate in Tonelli there. So, like we said, Pellizzari took those KOM points. Tonelli got second there. Janssens was still there. But eventually, it leads to a 3-man group in that descent, being Tonelli, Pellizzari, and Pelayo Sanchez. And behind, the tempo of Bjerg in the descent is just not as high as Tonelli, giving his everything to keep Pellizzari as far as possible from this peloton by the time that next climb hits. And the gap went from 1 minute back to 2 minutes 25 by the foot of the next Monte Grappa 2, when Tonelli just kept on pacing for a bit at the bottom, had to go off the front, then Pellizzari and Sanchez were left, and then Pellizzari went and dropped Sanchez, and they had a solo man at the front about 2 minutes 20, roughly after like a kilometer of Monte Grappa 2 on the peloton. And in the peloton after Bjerg, it's once again Langen who came back on top of the first Monte Grappa in the descent. He's back at the front, and the train looks like this: Langen, Bjerg, Grosschartner, Novak, Maika. What seems clear to me is that during this race, it's like you can't expect the same riders to perform the same work every single day. And in addition to that, they might not have the same form every single day. Bjerg had a bit of a worse day. He's in a different space when it comes to the train. We've seen Novak had a bit of a weaker first week. Now in week 3, he looks significantly stronger. Grosschartner, week 1, not great. Week 2, amazing. Now in today's stage, before Novak in the train. So they're really trying to switch around depending on how each rider feels, which is really important, of course.
Yeah, because there's no point if Novak pulls before Bjerg and Grosjean and drops both of them.
Yeah.
You get no kilometers out of them. And this is an 18-kilometer climb. And so they didn't try to shut. I mean, maybe there was a little bit of like, oh, we need to go faster. Pog was sort of directing proceedings on the radio. But there wasn't too much panic, nor was there any need to, because with this 18K climb, you can just wear it down. Each rider takes their pull and they take 25 seconds out, and then eventually you go down, 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 and then Pog can close the rest. But also you got to bear in mind, he doesn't just need to catch Pellizzari. He probably needs to take a good 30 seconds on him, let's say, because you don't want to have to push the descent absolutely full gas. You know, and the guys behind have more motivation like Pellizzari to do that. So you do also want to get a bit of a buffer so that you can take the descent at your own pace. And that's what happens. It goes Grosjean brings it down to about 2 minutes, 2:07, holds it, and it's just the K's are being eaten up while Pellizzari is eating wind at the front. Then Novak brings it from 2:05 to about 1:25. I would say he did a really good pull. And they're dropping riders one by one. I actually thought, Benji, I thought O'Connor was going to lose fourth when Novak took over. Because I swear he was on a gap for a moment, or he visibly looked like he was struggling already. And that was with a lot of Ks to go.
And also what was interesting to me, first of all, we got to say, first Grappa Zana was already dropped. So his top 10 positions in the bin. Bardet dropped relatively early here as well, while Novak was doing his pull. You're saying it. O'Connor had a bit of a moment there, potentially, where he showed a bit of vulnerability. But also next to that, I also feel like you saw the grimaces go to the extreme on each rider's face. And UAE was by far the strongest team in today's stage. Like, we're talking, they were there with 4 riders, while the entirety of the last Monte Grappa, Ineos had Arensman and Thomas. And when it comes to Bora, Martinez had Aliotti for a bit, and then Aliotti went off the back relatively late in the stage as well. But they don't have much, Bora and Ineos here, which is a complete difference compared to week 1, where it was simply the opposite. And before we get to
the second strongest was Decathlon.
Yeah, they had a lot of riders at like APP, VPP, but on the moment that Novak takes over, Baudin, APP drop instantly together, and VPP has to close the gap with O'Connor in the wheel.
Maybe that's what I was seeing.
Maybe that's the thing you were referring to.
Yeah.
One more thing, General Pogacar commanding his forces, first of all on the radio, but secondly, when Novak took over from Grosjean, instead of saying anything on the radio, the man just rode to the front of his train while everybody looked like they were suffering, just talking to every single rider. How are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what he was saying, but him talking to Grosjean and to Novak is what caused Grosjean to go off the front and Novak to start pacing. So I truly think that he wanted a higher tempo and that Grosjean could not give him in there. But anyway, we're getting to the action. What's about to happen?
What we've seen on not on TiVo actually, but what we saw in Livigno, Micah begins his lead out. It already drops half the GC contenders straight away. So O'Connor, Thomas actually is gone. It's Rubio, Arensman, Tiberi, who sat deep all day, actually had to close the gap because he was stronger than Thomas and O'Connor. And Arensman also full dropping. He's dropping from the second GC guys. And it's Rubio, Martinez, Tiberi, let's say, and Micah leading out Pogacar and Pink, and eventually Micah does a long pull, and Pogacar just rides away again. And then no one tries to go with him. Tiberi immediately goes to the front because he's got O'Connor behind for fourth. Immediately he can, if he takes 40 seconds or maybe less on him, he goes into fourth. He's got to keep Arensman behind for the white jersey, and probably dreaming initially, if Thomas is cracking this early, or if he's cracking at all, of a potential podium spot. And so he starts riding really hard for Martinez and Rubio in the wheel. Rubio's just can follow, and he's thinking, just moving up, I guess. Like, he's moving up on so many riders.
Quite interesting to me was quite a spectacular thing was when Thomas was dropping from that first group towards that second group. We saw Storer bridging from that second group to the first group, across Thomas, to the front group for a little bit. Because at a certain point, he was together with Tiberi, together with Rubio, together with Daniel Felipe Martinez. And when Poggi goes from the wheel of Micah, obviously, Poggi's off the front, Micah's dropping at that point, but your groups are made, eh? And I think a very vital rider for at least 2 riders in this race was VPP, Valentin Paré-Peintre, being present in the group with Geraint Thomas and O'Connor, his teammate. I think that helped so much when it comes to keeping the gap from their group to the group in front of them relatively close.
Oh, VPP saved the day. Maybe he saves O'Connor's 4th. Maybe he saves, I mean, probably doesn't save Thomas's podium, but who knows? Like, Thomas has been allergic to riding the wind this Giro, so you don't, like, he would have had to pull, but he was also really, really struggling today. So, yeah, VPP really solved that, and he did a fantastic, in fact, he could have gone faster. I almost think VPP himself, he could have shut Martinez, that group, on the climb himself, but it would have meant dropping O'Connor.
Out of contract together with APP.
Really?
Right? No?
Oh, wow.
Am I done?
Yeah, I think you're correct. So they're going to be hot property.
Yeah.
Like, that's a serious climbing performance. I mean, in terms of GC for VPP, it seems like he's he has a lot of limitations, but certainly as a pure climbing domestique today, that was an unbelievable performance for O'Connor, who probably wasn't feeling his best, frankly, the last week or so. So yeah, Pogacar goes clear, but there's still a matter of Pellizzari ahead. The young Italian on Bardiani, he closes, I don't know what the gap was when Michael launched him, 50 seconds, 40 seconds.
50.
And gets across to Pellizzari, sits on his wheel for a little bit on the flatter section, and the last 4Ks or so kick up again. And Pog rides away from Pellizzari for going for his 6th stage win, all fully resplendent in pink. He got the pink bike actually delivered this morning, or for the first time today, and takes a big gap at the top. Benji has in the notes 2 minutes on Martinez, 2:12 on Thomas, 3:03 on Aronsman. Were you surprised to see in the GC group of like the mortals that actually their level was so close, and that's actually been the same throughout the whole race, that gap was never got above 20 seconds between Martinez, Rubio, Tiberi, and Ben O'Connor, Thomas?
Honestly, I wasn't expecting someone to attack and suddenly drop everybody by like 45 seconds, but I did see the possibility of someone having a bad day and therefore losing 45 seconds. And in the way that Tiberi did in the Livigno stage, for example, as in when they're on a similar level. When one of them is not on, that person can lose time towards those riders. And I feel like that's kind of what we saw today, because first of all, Martinez, Tiberi have solemnly proven, I don't even know what the word solemnly means. I just remember that being part of like a thing people say in court.
Harry Potter, I do solemnly swear I'm up to no good. When they open up what's the parchment where it shows you the map of...
I don't know. I've never watched those movies in order.
You read the books?
No. Why are you staring at me like that? Like I've just committed a crime.
Move on. I'm watching Mad Max for the first time tonight.
Which one?
The first one. The first one, because I never watched it. I never watched it before. And
the Tom Hardy one or the Mel Gibson ones?
The Tom Hardy one, not
good.
not your boy, Mel. And I'll watch go to the movies tomorrow night. They have it in version original, subtitulado en español, so I can see it. Because normally they're dubbed. I thought you were into those.
I really like the first Mad Max. I was in a very big Tom Hardy phase back in the day.
You know, that's what Australia's actually like.
Okay.
When you come in January. That's
what
Adelaide. Hardy's. When you ride out in Northern Summer, just over there, it looks like that.
Oh, it looks like that. Not the people. The people aren't just like Tom Hardy.
Also there's the people like that.
Oh, okay, fair. Anyway, Martinez and Tiberi did prove fully in this Grand Tour that they were consistent throughout. Tiberi, the time he lost was in week 1 on Europa, 2 minutes on the group with Thomas, due to a mechanical on the climb. That was what initially got him dropped behind. Maybe he had a bit of a downfall in form that day because of that happening, but that's what initially made his gap towards the others there. And when it comes to Martinez, consistent throughout as well. So I think they've proven. Is it weird to say this, but Adam Yates leaves Ineos, podiums a Grand Tour at UAE, Martinez leaves Ineos and is podiuming a Grand Tour at Bora. Sorry, but Why couldn't they do that? Well, we know what Adam Yates could. Like, Adam Yates could have podiumed the Vuelta in 2022, the one that Haig got,
Yeah.
but he just didn't look around when Haig was dropped. And with Martinez, he's just
it wasn't
better.
just that. Like, Yates gained like 0.5 watts per kilo at UAE.
Yeah, but Martinez, I'm not sure he got much better.
No, I don't think. I have to look at the watts, but yeah, I looked at like on Bondone last year. G was way better.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so Martinez, I'm not sure he has improved. Definitely consistently, but like
Yeah. That's improvement, eh?
But still, yeah, exactly. He's second
descending,
in the Giro.
mate.
Descending,
it's still not perfect, but
I think he improved that on Ineos, to be honest.
Fair. I think so too.
Yeah.
Last year already.
Do you reckon that's why he attacked on the little kicker on the descent?
Oh,
It's like he didn't want G to come back. Because why would you?
I think that's fair. I think that's him trying to. It's the last hill in the Giro that you can attack on, so I think it's fair to show that. But Daniel Felipe Martinez is the best of the rest for me in this Giro.
Yeah. Which they didn't really get many gaps on each other. So as I said, the level on the climb, second and sixth was pretty close. There's the TTs made a big difference. Yeah. O'Connor cracking on a roper made a big difference. Tiberi having a mechanical made a big difference. Was that on a roper? As you said, it wasn't like one just came out and stood above the others.
Yeah.
Although Martinez probably was the best. But yeah, Pogacar rides away, wins his sixth stage comfortably with a 2:07 gap ahead of VPP, who comes second, winning the sprint ahead of Martinez. Some nice UCI points there for VPP. Not that Decathlon need them anymore. In a group of Tiberi, Rubio, Pellizzari, Thomas, O'Connor. So yeah, O'Connor actually shut the gap on the descent himself. Then Storer on 2:31. Micah with a group of Caruso and Aronsman on 3:08. So Aronsman loses a minute, as well as Jan Hirt. And yeah, that's about it, really. Zana has a bad day. He loses 9:54. And who else? Bardet also loses 7:37. So he completely cracks and loses 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. GC, Pogacar doesn't win by 10 minutes. Is Pog washed? He only wins GC by... I mean, there's some bonus seconds tomorrow, Benji. They do a reverse lead out with Poggy?
Wait. No, it's going to be different. I recall saying 8 minutes 51. It's now 9 minutes 56. What if he does the thing where he has his entire team off the back of the peloton tomorrow to celebrate as a team, coincidentally by, how much do I need? 1 minute and 5 seconds, please.
That's actually, there's a decent chance that might happen. They're actually, like, why wouldn't they post up?
I don't know. Ciclismo? I don't know.
But they have such a gap, they might do it.
Yeah. It's not 10 minutes, so you might as well do it.
How much time did Vingegaard lose when he did that last year? But they'd neutralized it. But we could time it and then figure it out. I reckon you might be on the money there, Benji.
I think 1 minute and 5 is a lot.
I don't know. You got to get them all sorted, all lined up. You're just pedaling with your hands on the bars as sprinters. True. I think they could do it just for you. But yeah, Pogacar 9:56 ahead of Martinez, who holds on to second. Let me do some quick maths. 28 seconds ahead of Geraint Thomas. Thomas defends his third position after battling through today by about 1 minute and 23 seconds ahead of O'Connor, who similarly, after maybe not his best day, defends fourth against Tiberi by 42 seconds. Aronsman still holds on to sixth because of the gap to Rubio, which was about 1 minute and 21 seconds. But Tiberi wins then the youth classification, the white jersey, by now 1:42 with the time he gained today. Rubio moves into seventh. He might have even, on an even harder or longer stage, could have been into sixth, but he moves into seventh. Jan Hirt into eighth. Bardet drops from seventh to ninth. Storer moves into the top 10 after Zana's bad day, and also because Fortunato, despite holding on longer than Zana, he also cracked badly on the second grapper and even finished in the same time as Baudin and Zana and Pozzovivo on 9:54. So he overextended maybe a little bit. So yeah, like Stora doesn't walk away with the stage when he might have wanted, but at Shooter's
Yeah.
first Grand Tour, he moves his way from into the top 10 right when he probably, well, when it matters most on the last climbing stage.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a perfect moment to do so. And yes, it's a shame for the riders that dropped out of the top 10, but the final mountain stage is an important one to defend. And Zana and Fortunato, 2 Italians out of the top 10, which means that Tiberi is now the only Italian in the top 10. And he's also the best Italian GC rider right now, which the main problem they had with Italians in the past was that they couldn't TT, like after Nibali and so forth. Because Nibali, obviously, godlike time trialist. As a Nibali fan, I have to say that. But like, that's the thing. And I think we haven't seen the best of Tiberi yet either. Like, the man's made progress since last year. I expect that progress to continue. Yes, the man killed a cat, but when it comes to a cyclist, his performances are on point. His consistency across 3 weeks is on point, and we must admire that side of it. And then I'm looking at the rest of the top 10 as well. I'm thinking Rubio also, like, this is a great performance for Rubio. The fact that he was there with the best riders behind Pogacar today is strong, because last year and the years before, I was looking at this guy as a stage win person, and now he's top 10 the Giro, which it is not a high-level Giro outside of Pogacar. Let that be clear. The fact that Stora and Rubio can top 10, they won't do this at the Tour de France, but it still matters. It still proves their consistency across 3 weeks, which means that, yeah, that they're there on this level. And
still a Grand Tour top 10.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. It just didn't come out.
No one can take that away from you. No one says in 5 years, but who was there? It's a Grand Tour top 10.
Exactly. Now, I must also say the fact that Thomas is podiuming again after last year means that he's a consistent cornerstone in the team of Ineos. Next to, I personally say that I put, it's different because like the comparisons between Carlos Rodriguez, a young guy that's up and coming, that's been solid at top 5 the Tour de France last year, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Ooh, got it wrong there for a second, I thought. But anyway, he top 5 last year. Thomas now 2 years in a row for the Giro. Carlos Rodriguez is really like, to me, he can do what Thomas does if Carlos Rodriguez is in this race. But Thomas is just consistent.
Rodriguez would have finished second with a big gap.
Oh, okay.
I think he beats Martinez.
On paper, I would say so as well, but Martinez was consistent here too. Which
it's all on paper. It's like, but he wasn't here, was he? And like, you know, avoiding sickness, avoiding crashes. Martinez was, and he did it. So yeah, but I agree with your broader point that Rodriguez could podium the Giro. One would think. I also think it's the race that actually suits him the best of the 3 Grand Tours. I would say he was quite good. Well, not quite good in Romandy. He won the race, which is quite good, I guess. But yeah, but then again, Benji, you know, Aronsman, he's also out of contract. What do Ineos do there? Do they see him as the potential podium guy in the Giro next year?
Maybe he looks at Martinez and thinks, okay, this guy left, got a podium at a Grand Tour. Maybe it's my turn to dip out to do that. But like, if you look at the last 2 weeks, it's only really today that Aronsman fell through compared to the other lower tier GC riders, as in compared to Pogacar. The group of Thomas, Tiberi, and so forth, this is the first day in 2 weeks where Aronsman really fell through significantly. Yeah. And it's really that consistency on day 1 and day 2 that they need to try and push out. But it's also, I've got like this double vibe with Aronsman, and it's difficult to really point at how I feel this, but it's sometimes as if one, he wants to go for GC, and on the other side, there's something that tells me that like, he doesn't really like the pressure, he seems to me. So there's like this difficult balance to look at, and maybe having someone as co-leader helps him.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, how can he not push? How does he get dropped by Bjerg on Madeleine on stage 1? Like,
I don't
physically, like, when you see his level in the later stages, like, and Bardet also got dropped, but Bardet was nowhere near Aronsman's level in this race. Aronsman was like a top 5-7 GC rider in this race for the rest of the race. Bardet was like breakaways and then fully got cooked today. So yeah, I agree. I'm like, I don't think they could, after this Giro, Benji, just be like, extend Aronsman, and for sure he will go to the Giro next year and he will be our leader to podium. But they also have they have Bernal, Rodriguez, Pidcock as well. But then maybe what you said about Martinez.
Especially because I also have this feeling about this Giro. Pogacar was here. He absolutely dominated GC as expected. But when it comes to the riders behind it, I can name more than 5 riders that I think would beat Martinez and Thomas here.
Yeah,
Vingegaard, Rodriguez. Shit. Now I'm putting myself under pressure.
Remco, Roglic, Yates, Simon Yates, Pello Bilbao, Joao Almeida, Juan Ayuso.
Almeida is a good point, actually. I genuinely think Almeida would have podiumed the Giro if he was here, even if Pogacar's here.
Yeah, but they didn't even need to send. I mean, he's done like 4, no? He podiumed last year.
But also, there's this thing about Almeida that his consistency, he's consistent over 3 weeks, but sometimes he's got this random moment that he's completely out of position when everybody and their dog knows the race is going to hit the fan. Yeah, but the Giro's
good for him for that. Because when did that really happen to this Giro? This was like a procession, no? Like, UAE just control...
Passo Sella, I guess?
Yeah. Tranquilo the whole time. No, never in doubt. KOM, as Benji said, Pellizzari moves into second over Steinhauser, who wore the blue jersey today on behalf of Tadej Pogacar, but Pogacar wins that competition. Youth, I already said, Tiberi. Points, Milan, I presume they'll have no OTL issues today. And yesterday, the team's classification decathlon had a 20-minute lead, and given that Baudin, VPP, Bock, and APP all finished much better today, I think they would have extended their gap in that competition. So Decathlon win teams classification, which I would say is kind of deserved because they were good generally. They were probably almost the second best team after UAE.
Who?
Hard to really say. Decathlon.
I don't know. Is it weird to say that I'm low-key a bit disappointed in APP?
No.
VPP definitely overperformed compared to my expectations.
Like APP, he wasn't even in the break yesterday, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's the sort of thing we would have thought he'd be there trying to win.
Baudin was better than expected.
Yeah, but then he fell through.
I think Decathlon, it's also like, if we take a look at week 1 in this race, and we see that UAE was kind of falling through themselves in stage 1, we don't know how strong UAE was in week 1 because no one else tried to exploit it, you know? That's also an effect.
Yeah.
And there were moments in break formation in the first 10 stages where UAE had 2 riders in the group, where Ineos had like 5, where Decathlon had like 4. And in those moments, you do see a vulnerability that once again did not get exploited. And one, that is because Ineos quickly folded into we're going to ride for the podium. And the other teams were already riding for the podium to begin with, in my opinion. So I think that's why we never really saw a team trying to punch at UAE and see whether they could try and exploit that. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, Ineos was very strong in 70% of the stages when it comes to their block of a team. But then on stages where you truly expect them to be more present, like today, for example, they're kind of nowhere to be seen.
That's
except Aronsman and Thomas, of course. But you know what I mean?
There's a lot of the stage where it's just 2 guys. And it was Connor Swift, I think, that I was like, where's Sheffield? Where's Ghana? Yeah. And like, theoretical Ghana had an all-time performance. Theoretical Domestique Ghana had an all-time Giro.
Theoretical Ghana? What is a theoretical Ghana? Tell me.
Well, it's like, look how much he can do. He's a big powerhouse. He's such a good domestique. He can climb so well.
But the day before.
But then it's like, well, how many challenge seconds did he help in anything?
Yeah, but if you take a look at the race at Ineos, we had stage 1.
Swift even doing the keep the safe duties.
Something happened here. Anyway, yes, like, I've got a feeling that when it comes to Ineos themselves, they just had a very, outside of stage 1, that small attack that Thomas did in the Wheel of Scaroni against Pogacar. That's also cool. Thomas doing it. Thomas following Pogacar on that random hill. That's also something. The only moment where Thomas and Aronsman used
Dropping
their team.
Pogacar.
What, sorry?
Dropping Pogacar.
Dropping Wang. Oh, okay, fair. The only moments where they truly set pressure was the echelon moments.
Yep.
Where they used Arn, and now the Arnsman yesterday, 2 days ago, was it yesterday? When Arnsman rode for Thomas? That moment. And you could argue on the gravel stage, but one could also argue that was mostly to keep yourself in the right position. But at the end of the sector, they were pushing.
Yeah.
So not on a climb, in other words, outside of like Arnsman the other day.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, sometimes a rider's too good to be a domestique, you know? Like,
but I do think that there's full credits to Ineos on one side. And that side is, for example, if you take a look at the way they raced this year when it comes to the freedom for the riders that are not named Geraint Thomas.
Yeah, much better.
That was significantly more than in the past.
Yeah.
I vividly remember the Tour de France Unchained segment in the Tom Pidcock Alpe d'Huez stage where Thomas literally says, why would Pidcock go up the stage? What could that bring of value? Something like that. I'm inventing his quote, but it was very similar to that. Like, and he ends up winning the stage from the breakaway. Like, Narvaez being allowed to have that freedom on stage 1 gets them a stage win and a big jersey afterwards. Yes, Thomas loses time that day, but a rider that goes for the podium can afford having some of her teammates go in the breakaway. And the Ganna attack, the Narvaez attack on those sprint stages, those versatile ones, it almost led to a stage win on both occasions. And Narvaez going in the breakaway multiple times, Sheffield as well, Ganna a few times. I much prefer that side of Ineos compared to last year and the year before.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, even to consider Narvaez, you're like, oh, where's this guy been? Well, actually, they got him to do a lead out for Bernal on a 2 kilometer, 8% punchy climb in the Vuelta.
Yeah.
Like 2-3 years ago. He actually dropped everybody and then had to wait. And it's like, I almost think he could have been winning those stages. And that was a big difference. And, you know, credits, they go with 3rd, 6th, 2nd in the white jersey, 2nd in teams, and 2 stages, right? So
yes. Wait.
Actually, a big
2-stage time trial.
Yeah, you get a TT and the pink jersey on stage 1. The only other team to wear the pink jersey for a day during this race. So I'd say almost a better haul than the Giro last year. But I will do a full Giro recap on Monday after the sprint stage tomorrow, which we'll just preview quickly now. Stage 21 in Rome. 125 kilometers long procession stage. It actually has it's through like some pave actually in the city. It's a little bit tricky, and especially if it's wet, they probably will neutralize it up before the last lap commences. But I don't know the weather forecast, and it can be a little bit difficult to sprint. This one, Cavendish won by 10 bike lengths after Geraint Thomas did a fantastic lead out last year. I only see one winner, Benji, and that is Big Johnny Milan to take his 4th win.
Boring. Who else can win? I'm thinking
it's always random. Jordi Meus won the Champs-Élysées sprint last year.
Yeah. Come on. Is there like a late attack possible? I don't really think so. Remember Pogacar last year on Champs-Élysées? Come on, Poggy. You can do it again. Come on.
Ineos with Ganna or Chef or Narvaez. Yeah, they could do that. Baradeur attack. Finesse attack, rather.
Late Ganna attack victory. I'm going for the all out there dark horse, like the dark pony in the backyard. That's the one I'm going for.
And Yurkovsky top 3? Question mark.
No.
No. Okay.
4th.
Poor Yurkovsky. He'll top 5. He'll top 5.
Fair. I think
6th. Very exact. Also around the traps, Lorena Wiebes won her 2nd stage in a row of the Ford Ride London Classique. It started in Malden to Malden. It was like a uphill punchy sprint actually, and she beat Charlotte Kool, Kopecky 3rd, and Paternoster 4th. Wait. Oh yeah.
I do want to mention Kopecky did a lot of work during the stage, trying to control everything, trying to neutralize attacks, keep it all together. So to also give a lead out to Wiebes to get that victory is cool. Next to that, if you're in London tomorrow, I'm probably going to go to the start, so you might see me there.
Okay. Make sure you say hello to Benji, get a photo with him, harass him, do what you will.
Harass is maybe a bit over the top.
Don't do that.
Wait, we didn't talk about this. We didn't talk about spectators harassing Pogacar on the climb.
Oh yeah, as I said, I could take or leave the spectators. They don't add much to me. They're just annoying.
You just
I
want to
just
go back
don't
to 2020
understand the
COVID
mentality,
days?
Benji. Like, are they fans? Because you must be a fan, right? I would say I'm a cycling fan. I probably watch more than the average person of racing. I don't know exactly. Just just ballpark. So to go up and even I can't be bothered to go up, stand on top of a mountain all day, wait for them, and to then I don't know, be throwing flares in their face. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, do you have a piece of your brain missing?
For me, there's the thing with why do you need to touch riders? We had some inappropriate touching when it comes to Kopecky in the classics. When it comes to this race, for example, on the Monte Grappa, like it's not even like a soft touch. People are just hammering Pogacar on that climb, which he was clearly frustrated, and I understand that he's frustrated.
Was very frustrated, yeah.
If you go to a cycling race, do not touch the riders. Try to avoid hindering the riders at all costs. If you've got a camera on a stick, an Insta360, I saw a few in front of the UAE train, nearly hitting Bjerg's bloody face on the climb. Like
flags and shit.
What are you doing?
Like, okay, Slovenians, you're showing great support, but like, do you want to be the person that takes down the UAE train with your flag with Pogacar in it? Like, just think a little bit, you know. And it's I don't know what's wrong with people, Benji. I think people just want to be on TV, or they just want to feel more part of it. They get too excited. Like, maybe, I don't know. Ticket the course, I say, and barrier it off.
Last thing, controversial topic. What do you think of the comparisons between Pogacar and Merckx?
I don't know who Eddie Merckx is. I wasn't alive to watch his race, so I don't know.
My take is the one that is controversial. As in, last time I checked, Pogacar wasn't caught 3 times for doping yet, nor kicked out of the Giro d'Italia for it, and Merckx was. So I actually find it disrespectful.
Kicked out of the Giro?
Yeah, in I don't know the exact year. But he was kicked out of the Giro for a controversial anti-doping.
Pantani got kicked out of the Giro, and like they use him in the official promotional material.
Yeah, I'm just like, I find it disrespectful to those riders, especially when I have the feeling of I'm never gonna put my hand in the fire for a rider and say they're not doping, but I'm also on the side of riders are innocent until proven guilty. On that side, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Particularly when Merckx has, like, and it's not like they had the bio passport then either. Is that daddy's getting tested as frequently as they do now.
If he gets caught 3 times, you can guess how many times.
It's like look at the drink driving statistics. If you get caught drink driving, statistically that person, they've been drink driving a lot more than the time they caught you. So
fair. Don't drink and drive.
Don't. What was I going to say? I don't know. I didn't watch. Even the doping stuff aside, like, I just don't. The comparisons, even in basketball, people in basketball, they love historical comparisons. And it's like comparing whoever, you know, say in 10 years, compare Wembanyama to Bill Russell. It's like, okay, but it's so different, you know? It's so
Those names
different.
Mean nothing to me.
Yeah, or like, even when did cycling start professionally? Like the 90s.
What do you consider professionally? That's also a thing, eh?
Yeah.
From what era do you start, like, do you feel like you've got prominent knowledge on the sport?
Like in 2021, brother. Nah, 2020. I'm joking, 2020. Before then, couldn't tell you.
For me, it's around 2008, I think. I've seen most of the races.
2018, they're crawling up to Wes, fucking 5 watts per kilo. I'm like, come on, what are we doing? They're training, no one eating any carbohydrate. You know, whatever. When did you say?
2007, 2008 for me.
2007?
PCM kiddo, eh?
Jesus. I wouldn't know a road bike from a mountain bike.
I was watching Peter van Peterhem and so forth back in the day. You don't even know who that is.
I know he's the father of Alexander van Petergem, who was on the Visma Dev team last year. Is that correct?
That's why you know him. That's the worst part of it all.
Alrighty. Boucle to round off Boucle de Mayenne. Bettiol won the 5-hour stage. Jesus. Hilly stage ahead of Mark Hirschi and Alexandre Delettre, who actually is quite good. I would not be surprised to see him picked up. He was on Cofidis last year and he's gotten better at Saint-Michel-Mavé-Corbert 93, which maybe a sad indictment on Cofidis this
year.
Hey,
I'm going to test you. What is it in Wallonian French?
93. No.
93, yeah.
Okay. I don't know what it is in Spanish. No, 93, maybe. Cosnefroy fourth, sorry. And so Bettiol actually takes the GC lead by 23 seconds. Tomorrow's the last stage, which is a softer, hillier circuit, but there'll probably be a million attacks. Actually looks good for Cosnefroy to finish, but maybe he's too far behind on GC now. Mayus won the third stage of the Tour of Norway in a sprint ahead of Pavel Bittner, Christoph, and actually Van Aert contested the sprint. He comes fourth, Viviani fifth. And in the Tour de Pays de Vaud, Villars-sur-Hollande, this is a Nations Cup U23 race, decathlon's climbing prospect in the juniors. It's not U23, it's juniors. Paul Seixas absolutely fucking cooked everybody, it looks like. So, including one of the biggest Slovenian prospects who's on the Bahrain dev team next year. So, he put like a minute into them on a 10K, 8% climb. So look out for Paul Seixas. Could be the VPP. Could be his cousin, for all I know. Could be. He looks like that. What?
Is this your every French person looks the same era?
I mean, listen, if the guy looks like he rolls his own cigs, is 50 kegs, looks like he just, in his PCS photo, looks like he just rolled out of bed and he's dropping huge watt bombs on steep climbs, yeah, I'm probably going to make the association between the two. So yeah, look out for him next year. Probably be on the decathlon U23 team, and then straight to maybe even pros, I would say. Anything else you got on your mind, Benji?
Not really.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. We'll see you with the recap of the Rome stage tomorrow, and then on Monday we will have the all-around Giro recap. Where I think we'll actually be quite positive on Pogacar's participation. Not to preview it too much. I've even changed my mind from where I sat on the preview of this whole Giro. Thanks very much to Join Cycling for being our show partner and supporting LRCP so well. And make sure you check them out down below. Get that 30-day free trial, and we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.